takes a minute. Okay. So, yeah, so one of my friends just wrote to me last night about about the vagus nerve and vagal tone. And I'm like, oh, so much of what we do is dealing with that. And really, anytime we're going into this interior dive of somatic practice, like we're offering our body the chance to drop down, down regulate, and come into the parasympathetic. So the vagus nerve is a big player in the parasympathetic nervous system. So we're going to do it today in some kind of weird ways. Humming. So our vagus nerve is coming out back here, sort of behind our ears. It's moving down. It connects to some of our vocal cords and moves down through dealing with our heart rate and our breath and our digestion and even orgasm, which is very exciting. Or it could be very exciting. Anyway, so we're going to start. I'm just going to show you seated the breath practices that we'll do. And one is just going to be a hum. And the hum will just be like, but I'm going to offer with that hum that inside your mouth, your tongue kind of has some freedom to maneuver around. So when I do that, my tongue is kind of playing up on my soft palate on the roof of my mouth and being like a sea creature, just giving it some sort of mobility. When I do that, for me, I can hear the sound resonate in different parts of my brain and my cranium. And it sometimes has some overtones. So it starts to take me into this space where it becomes interesting to look inside. So that's one breath that we're going to do. The other breath is this breath where you kind of gargle your own spit. So it's like your spit is in the back of your throat. It's easier to do laying down, and you're kind of like, and we use this breath a lot, or I use it a lot, to think of it kind of like your whole digestive tract, like having this motility, this mobility. But for our purposes today, maybe thinking of that gargling just to like go, hello, vagus nerve, are we good? And yeah, so just I think both of you guys know about the vagus nerve a little bit, but I'm going to talk about it as we get going. So starting laying down or seated or sitting in a chair or laying in your bed, any way that feels good to you, and just coming in for a landing in your body. As soon as I lay down, I have just become very aware of my sacrum and my sacroiliac and my whole lower pelvis, sit bones, hip bones, all those things. So yeah, so that nerve is starting up here, coming down all the way down into our pelvis. So just visualizing, and it's happening on both sides of our body. And there's the ventral and dorsal part. So there's like the front part and the back part. So just bringing that into your mind's eye. And let's start with the hum. And the idea is to let ourselves land in this somatic space where it's kind of relaxed and easy. And we're simply going in to look around and see what's there, what we turn to, what we discover. And that can just be sensation. It's not like we're going in there to excavate our life history in a story version, but maybe in a like, oh yeah, that one time when I fell, I can feel that. Or like, maybe we're on a body level coming into some of this relationship with story, but maybe not. All right, so playing with that hum, with your tongue having some freedom, and inviting in micro movement through your whole spine. So it might be still, it might be moving, whatever feels good to you. Inviting yourself to come into slowness in your body. And your exhales can take as long as it feels good. You can do resting breaths whenever you want. And inviting anything that needs to sort of trickle down or out to just sort of melt away so that you can really be present with yourself. So if there's stories coming up, what's going to happen, planning, judgment, See if you can let that drop away or just be like, oh, not paying attention to that right now. And I have this kind of interesting image for what sort of happens to me as I go into this. It's like there's kind of an image of like a lava lamp, letting the fluid move around in my body like a lava lamp without having to control it, just allowing freedom in the tissues, in the fluids. If you want to go deeper into your feeling, then let yourself close your eyes and just dive deep inside of yourself. If it feels safer to have the eyes open, that's completely fine too. So really letting yourself do it in whatever way feels good to you. Taking resting breaths, letting your jaw be really relaxed and easy, letting your tongue be relaxed and easy. And if you feel like you've had enough of the humming, you can start to add a little bit of side movement with your eyes, just checking out the room. If you feel like you're going into something that feels good and you want to continue humming and stay with that sensation, by all means do that. I'm just offering another thing. So this is when we let our eyes look around and we give the information to our brainstem that we're safe. It just allows us to let go of some of the maybe vigilance that we have going on, the, oh, I have to be careful or anything. So we want to give our brainstem that message that we are indeed safe. And by looking around, you can find that. I saw somebody say that if you turn your head as far as you want, maybe to the right or to the left, and then when you feel the urge to either yawn or swallow, you're getting into the vagal territory. So if that is interesting, go ahead and check that out. See if that happens for you. So as I'm in here, I'm letting my spine have freedom. I'm doing all of this micro movement in my spine. But I'm also letting my head just go from side to side. This could be very small or it could be big. And you can stay in one area and play with it a little bit. Or you can keep moving. Really how it feels good to you. So it doesn't have to be this like Terminator 2, eyes looking from side to side, taking in the whole thing. It can be really much more creative and artistic so that you just have this freedom. Allowing your body to slow down. So as I've come in there, what I'm starting to notice kind of on the surface of my body is I'm actually noticing like the skin of my belly as my clothes are moving on it. So this could take you into a lot of different places. Like you may notice something in your toe or your ear or your fingertips. That's all fine. Whatever happens, totally fine. And now for me, I'm like, oh, I just want to go in and let go of the eyes. So I'm still working with my head from side to side a little bit, feeling into the back of my neck and my throat, but also feeling the freedom in my whole gut body and spine. And if you feel like there's something that you're holding on to with this, just release the grip on whatever it is. Like if you're holding on to an idea or, oh, I gotta keep doing this thing, or if there's any feeling of holding, just let that soften. You don't need to hold on to any of it. You can keep changing as much as you like. It's almost like, yeah, if you get into the water, can you hold the water with your hand? If you close your fist, where's the water? Right? So think of it like that. There's nothing to hold on to. Are you holding the air? Nothing to hold on to. Earth, we could hold. Fire, we can't really hold. Space, we can't really hold. We can hold in a greater way, but not with our hands. So thinking of like those things of just being an illusion that you can even hold on to anything. And so if it's an idea or a thought, let that be as fluid as water or as light as air. So let's come into that gurgling breath. If it feels uncomfortable, you can let it go. But like, so it's a little bit of spit in your throat. And it can be really small and slow. It's not like you're gargling your mouthwash or your toothpaste. It's like just a little bit of air coming up with that spit to create sensation and a dance, an awareness pattern. So as I go into that and I slow it down, I can start to think of my whole like digestive system from my throat to like lips to anus, as they say, or tongue to tail, the whole thing, that whole like mucous membranous system that is being affected by your vagus nerve, right? So we're going to use that gargling to bring ourselves into a coherence between the vagus nerve and the digestive system, the whole thing. And it might just be an imaginary coherence, but that's fine. Freeing up your guts, freeing up the gut body, allowing the wandering nerve to really wander down your body, spacious and alive with its own intelligence, right? Yeah, and the invitation when we dive into this parasympathetic place is just to allow ourselves to rest and digest, soothe and settle, right? The healthy tone of the vagal nerve is helping us calm down, it coming into this healing place. So maybe as we go into that healing place, some things come up for you. So if that happens, it's okay. I want to say, like, the image that starts to come up for me as I do my gargling is like the bog of eternal stench. I think it's in Labyrinth, and it's like, popping and guzzling and gases and poop, all that. That's okay too. Gut body's got all sorts of things going on. If it starts to become too much, just let it go. Giving your body freedom to move in any way that feels good, any way that feels nourishing, any way that feels delicious, any kind of adjustment that you need to feel comfortable. Always allowed to do that. Yeah, I've been on my back a little too long here. I'm like, oh, I gotta move a little bit. But I can stay in that sort of parasympathetic, gentle place with myself, in the pit of eternal stench, bogging around. Just kidding. I don't feel like I'm in the pit. Yeah, so with the movement of our head, right? Just gently turning our head from side to side is going to be turning our nerve, where that nerve inside our body has to move to accommodate our movement, right? So when we think of like the fascia around it, the fluidity around it, giving it space so that those nerves have space in your body to move. Lots of juiciness, lots of fluidity, lots of space for the information to travel up and down through your body. So it's autonomic nervous system information, which most of it is pretty it's not on the conscious level. We're not organizing these things, but we can, when we do these different breaths, we can shift things. So inviting in that balance with your participation with your autonomic nervous system, your participation with that rest and digest. Like, oh yeah, I can calm down. I can tune into my nervous system. I can feel, am I amping up or am I dropping down? One of the nice things about doing this work in the room with other people is that our nervous systems really start to attune and to drop into that delicious space. I think there is some radiation through the interwebs, through the TV, through the Zoom room that keeps us sort of in that harmony. But if I go into a continuum class with Mary Abrams, who teaches in New York City, the minute she makes a sound, my whole body just naturally drops into this parasympathetic state, because that's what it's learned to do. Even if she doesn't make a sound, just going there, being in the space, like the somatic response is, oh, I'm here to do the work. I'm here to release, relax, come into myself, build this relationship with my own awareness. Right? So it's like, it's such a weird analogy to put it, like, it's a muscle that we're building, but it's an awareness practice that we're building. We're building this relationship with coming in with our nervous system and going, oh, this is what's happening, or oh, I just need to slow down a little bit. And sometimes it's the opposite. Sometimes we need to amp up and gear up. But for now, with the vagus, we're just inviting in the calming parasympathetic part. Letting that dorsal tone, which is the fight, flight, freeze, those activations, letting that soften whatever's held in our system. And all of us have stuff held in there, right? Letting our breath just wash some of that stuff away, letting our movement clear some of that stuff away. Okay, you can also take it onto your stomach if that feels good. And this could be done, you can be here, you could be on all fours, but letting yourself drop into the floor so that the front of your body gets to drop down as well. As soon as I've come here, like my mouth just started watering. It's like, oh yeah, I need to have this relationship with the floor from the front of my body as well. This relationship to gravity. So if we think of the nerve in our body, like when we're laying on our back, Gravity is drawing the nerve one way. When we're laying on our stomach, gravity is drawing the nerves another way, right? So we're getting this hydration for the front and the back of the nerve just by being on a different part of our body. And also, it's not that we can't use our muscles or engage with things as we're in this play. Like maybe sometimes our nervous system needs to play some stuff out. So sometimes it does feel good to get into some kind of pushing or pulling patterns or side-side patterns or contralateral patterns as we're in our exploration, right? Is there something in there? The world is a different place here than it is when I'm on my back. And you can be anywhere. You don't have to do what I'm doing, but whatever feels good to you. Maybe even being on your side. But moving towards comfort, moving towards what feels good, what feels delicious. And feeling into the energy of those nerves, feeling into what's happening in your body, in your system. Giving your system full permission to express in any way. Any way. Oh, hello. It supports you. I got the little pea pod here. That's really cute. Pea pod popped in the middle of my deep moment with myself. Pea pod. And trusting that anything that you feel or anything that, is coming online or anything that you're noticing in your body, it's okay. It's just what's there. It's what you're noticing. So we're not necessarily coming in here to solve all the problems of the world, but we are coming in here to be with ourselves and to just allow our own bodies this moment to process. This is one of the things that's what digestion is. It's processing, right? Resting, processing, digesting, processing, soothing, settling, processing. Even fight, flight, freeze in a way is processing, right? We're processing the world. So even coming into the, the startle pattern, the fear pattern, the frozen pattern, it's dealing with being in the world. So we're just bringing awareness to the possibilities in the pattern and what it feels like in ourselves to engage with the vagus nerve. And it's not possible ever to like actually just isolate one system. If we're working with one, we're going to be affecting all the rest of them pretty much no matter what. We are one whole human body. Yeah, letting yourself come back around to any of the things that we've played with. So listening in, cycling back to anything that was interesting. Just seeing where it is now, what's happening now. Mm. Letting yourself have your own lullaby, right? Your own lullaby to yourself. Doesn't have to make sense to anybody else. Yeah, I feel like doing all that throat stuff, all that gargling and all the humming, like suddenly like all my salivatory glands are all like whoosh. I don't even know if that's the right word for it. The saliva is just like, oh, hello there. So I stimulated some kind of fluidity in my face. So I'm just playing with that, with this again, working with that side, with a really, sometimes my eyes are open, sometimes they're closed, but I'm feeling into this place. And your exploration may be totally different. So really never feel like you need to go anywhere I'm going. These are all just offerings, just sprinkles into the soup. There's this whole thing going on for me about just moving into the backspace. Which I feel like whenever I tune into myself on that deep sort of level, it's always like there's this retreating with the tissue, not in a like I give up way, but in a, oh, just come back here a little bit, just ease back a little bit. Because as being the speed demon that I am in life, I'm usually shooting forward in like every cell. So like to come back into the back body, into the back space, into those cranial nerves, which are going down. I mean, they're like going down through the middle. It's not just in the back of our body, it's going down. Just feeling into whatever's alive for you. And allowing yourself a few breaths or a few moments to like consider the integration of the whole, that the whole system is one whole system, and the whole system of you is part of the whole system of the world, the whole system of life. So maybe to disentangle some sense of responsibility, or I have to do all this stuff and I have to do it right. I may be just doing this for myself, but maybe you guys need it too. Just this feeling of, oh, we're just part of life and it's all just happening and we're part of it. And the choices that we make and all the things are part of this whole system. It's not just within us, but we can come into these moments of being within ourselves where we can renegotiate how we are with ourselves. And however we are with ourselves is definitely going to ripple out into the world, right? When our system comes into resonance and harmony, it's easier for other systems to also do that. Like that's why little pea pod came popping in here and like just touched me so lightly. It was so cute. So giving yourself some spaciousness with all of that, that it isn't like this great work that you must complete and do it perfectly. It's all just being alive. I am going to stop recording. So if you are out there in TV land, oh, there's some people out there in TV land. Hello, hello. I am going to end the recording, but I hope your vagus nerves are feeling good. It takes me a minute to figure out how to do this.